Over the past few decades, there has been a rapid increase in technology in the medical field, with scientists constantly creating new medicines, treatments, and life-saving machinery. Recently, the pharmaceutical industry has found a connection between artificial intelligence and discovering new antibiotic drugs, a connection that could prove extremely effective and can revolutionize the world of medicine. Using AI and machine learning algorithms, scientists have made promising discoveries of new antibiotic compounds that could cure harmful diseases. Why use AI? The current methods for finding new antibiotics are inefficient and expensive, as very few antibiotics have been developed in recent years, and most are simply reinventions of existing medications. Further, increasing human resistance to antibiotics calls for new methods to discover disease-curing drugs. However, with the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms, identifying powerful new disease-fighting compounds could save a significant amount of time and money.
One thing that AI does really well in the world of antibiotics and pharmaceuticals in general is its ability to quickly test the properties of different molecules and drugs. One huge problem in the world of medicine is that bacteria is becoming increasingly resistant to antibiotics, and thus killing thousands, if not millions, of people all over the world. For example, in the pandemic, we found that there were many strains that really weren't affected by the vaccine. AI is now used to screen hundreds of thousands of molecules and determine the best combination of molecules for a specific drug. MIT made a model that was trained on 2,500 molecules, and then eventually it was used on a molecule database. From this database, they found out what drugs and which combination of drugs worked well together and reduced the resistance of bacteria to antibiotics. In the picture in the slide, you can see halicin and its effects. The petri dish on the right was treated with halicin, while the petri dish on the left was not treated with halicin. And as you can see, it's killed many drug-resistant strains. So AI has been able to identify what strains and what drugs can be resistant to antibiotics and what doesn't work against antibiotics.
So here we just have a brief overview of the drug discovery process. First, we got target discovery, which is all the targets that a drug needs to attack. And then we also got target validation, whether these targets are actually valid or not. And then we got generation and refinement, where we can create molecules and sift through them. For target discovery and validation, since there are so many different bacterial pathogens that are becoming more and more drug resistant, it becomes harder for researchers to identify targets for these drugs. Now, in this case, AI will search databases of compounds and literature to help identify new drug targets so that researchers don't have to comb through this. They also determines which targets are correct or not through validation, and this allows us to create new data sets fast and cost efficiently for the development. And from these targets, researchers can then design effective treatments. We can use AI to generate compounds, and we can use machine learning to learn the language of chemistry, just like how it understands English. So we can use the SMILES, also known as a simplified molecular input line entry system, which is just a way to put molecules into like a text code. And then using the target data from proteins, the machine learning algorithms use the SMILES to generate valid molecules and predict the rest of the compound using this like chemistry grammar that it's learned.
Firstly, this discovery is estimated to potentially save the drug market more than $70 billion by year 2028. In addition, there is a growing trend in partnerships and collaborations, and with companies working cooperatively together, there will be a reduced drug time to market. And essentially, this means drugs and antibiotics will quickly be developed and distributed to these clinics. This discovery will also decrease the cost to market, therefore making drugs more affordable, cost-friendly, and ready available to everybody.
So moving on, we're going to talk about how AI changes up the process of really building these different antibodies and antibiotics. So by employing different strategies in humans, AI provides a fresh viewpoint on the issue. It also costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time to do the research that is normally required to develop these different antibiotics and antibodies to fight viruses. And AI can really be utilized to really reduce these two factors and make the overall process a lot more efficient and easier for people to develop. So it is right now at the very moment a lot easier and quicker to construct an algorithm that can recognize various promising molecules which can fight against these antibiotics, and which in turn really speeds up the creation of these different like vaccines and things like that. And AI can also adapt further to more variations and mutations that can occur in the future for any given issue, which makes it a lot easier to, again, make or alter these antibiotics. And that's really how AI changes up the process. An example of past viruses and techniques employed by AI, there are a few that that'll be shown here. The first step is basically just a training set where you have various various viruses, and the data is really given to the AI to learn. It is then processed through graph feature addition machine learning for the data to be visualized, and then a hypothetical sample or experiment is created by the AI to kind of test various antibodies on COVID-19. And then depending on success rates, it is then sent to test for stability to check if the antibody is stable enough. And this is done through simulations on various candidates that are like stable and unstable. And yeah, these are really the main ways or techniques that are employed by AI.